This presentation is on the Church of Satan by Derek Simmerlink. The Church of Satan has been the topic of debate for a little over half a century, hitting its peak in the 1980s with the Satanic Panic, which had over 12,000 cases of ritualistic Satanism reported. Today, the interest in Satanism has switched over to more pagan and Wiccan beliefs within the last few years, but Satanism will forever be the pinnacle of infamy in the obscure curiosity of rituals. The Church of Satan is still alive and well, however. The original founder has passed away, yet his legacy lives on. Religion is always a difficult topic to discuss within social circles, and bringing to light the fringe can also seem taboo to many. Within this presentation, we will cover information about the founder, the tenets of the church, what the church stands for, some general misconceptions about the church, rituals within the walls of the church, and my own personal observation of the church throughout. The church's founder, Anton Sandor LaVey, was born April 11, 1930, in Chicago, Illinois, and shortly after moved to San Francisco, California. Anton was a carnival worker that held talks about the occult. On April 30th, 1966, the church was formally created. The church was loosely based around Anton LaVey's own philosophical and religious views, or rather anti-religious views. The religion's views are more based on self-help in general sense rather than any form of metaphysical belief, aside from the ritual work. The religion relating to Christianity is completely blasphemous. The religion teaches to care for yourself and shun your enemies, to only help if it is something you want, and to not hold God or gods above yourself. The religion also teaches that you yourself are a god or goddess. The church is still currently operating all around the world, from people's basements to actual sanctioned churches. Anyone can join, regardless of race, gender, or sexual orientation. The tenets of the Church of Satan are the 9 satanic statements, are an overview of how people should conduct themselves. This is where we begin into self-help section of LaVey's philosophy on life. The 9 statements all speak of what Satan represents, which can only be assumed that we are striving to be like Satan when attempting to follow this religion. They cover basic knowledge of not giving the wrong people attention and seeking revenge on your enemies instead of turning the other cheek. The book also works as sort of grimoire, book of shadows, or demon names and methods for calling them, with sections on how to sell your soul and how to handle love within one's life. These sections cover LaVey's ideas on how you should conduct yourself to his standard. The first verse states, Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence, which is the opposite, or rather gluttony. Number 2 is Satan represents vital existence instead of spiritual pipe dreams, the idea that believing in the now. Number 3, Satan represents undefiled wisdom instead of hypocritical self-deceit. I believe here he's speaking of not following a book and living in the now, which is kind of redundant as we're following his book if we're believing in the church. Number 4, Satan represents kindness to those who deserve it instead of love wasted on ignorance. Right here he's speaking of not allowing your time to be given up to those and to not love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Just trying to be, in a way, kind of rhetorical against Christianity. These sections cover LaVey's ideas on how you should conduct yourself to his standard. As mentioned above, you may do whatever you want though. For instance, when he refers to having mass orgies within the book, he also says that you don't have to do this. In a way, you could be a Satanist and not even know it just by living your regular everyday life. The book also covers what type of people to watch out for. One type is called a psychic vampire. These types of people are known to drain your energy and continue to ask for more. In a way, with some of the text seeming nonsensical, a lot of stuff is what most people already know to avoid within their regular lives. The fifth satanic statement states Satan represents vengeance instead of turning the other cheek. Number 6, Satan represents responsibility to the responsible instead of concern for psychic vampires, which I have just spoken about. Number 7, Satan represents man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse, and those that walk on all fours, who, because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, has become the most vicious animal of all. Number 8, Satan represents all of the so-called sins as they lead to physical, mental, or emotional gratification. Satan has been the best friend the church has ever had, as he has kept it in business all these years. So as you can see with these 9 statements, it's a lot to do with LaVey's sort of philosophical outlook on how he feels about his church and how he feels that a person should conduct themselves within their life. But it's all rhetorical throughout the book, going back on itself, saying that you don't have to do this to be a part of the church, and it's just kind of an idea of something that you can do within the church. So, as I said before, I feel that this book, written by LaVey, is mostly a self-help book, aside from the ritual work that can be performed through intravenously this book. To me, my interpretation of the book was that Satan represented Anton LaVey as the leader of his church. I don't know if he was living vicariously through him and that was his output that he was trying to portray, like so many others have done. And then, yeah, it's just basically a book of logic and grimoires, which are old summoning books. There is a section in there on how to sell your soul, but it doesn't actually say exactly how one is to do this. It just kind of goes into theology in respect to the Faustian narrative. And then Psychic Vampire, we've already covered, which is just a person to watch out for that will kind of cling on to you and sort of suck you dry for whatever you've got, and just keep asking for more. They don't believe in a afterlife officially. They just think that when you die, you die. So to leave your life as something that you would want left as a legacy. And I think that all kind of ties back into what LaVey was doing and kind of leaving some kind of legacy behind that people would remember him as. Satanic ritual in this book I found to be the only thing that was not just an idea of something that you can or can't do. It was something that he actually wrote about, aside from everything else that was more of a self-help that, oh, you can do it if you like. So there are plenty of different rituals within this book, but the satanic ritual is one of much misconception. The actual ritual deals with more Wiccan beliefs than anything else. There are 3 types of rituals. The first is a sexual ritual, which involves sexual actions to begin about someone for sexual reasons. The second ritual is that of a compassion ritual, which is done to bring help to an individual. And the third is a destruction ritual, which is either to destroy your enemy or to bring some form of discomfort to their lives, which it is all kind of a contradiction to believing in self-logic and following the paths, unless they can prove that string theory is 100% correct than the ideas of putting ritual work into a book that's constantly telling you that you need to kind of watch out for yourself in this life and follow the path that will deter you from that, and to kind of self-help you through being walked all over, and then believing in a side that is just completely fringe, just is kind of contradictory in trying to teach somebody to be a better person, but yet this magical influence will help you. I don't want to put out a misconception. This book is within complete redundance of the Holy Bible and has major emphasis on the evil that is the Antichrist, the devil, Satan, or whatever evil you would like to focus on. The heavy self-help concepts are mostly instructions for how to protect yourself from others. There are much stranger things in this world that we are not so accustomed to, such as how people in other countries handle their dead. I feel that since religion is such a difficult topic to cover with most people and intentionally leans on the extreme side of what was once normal in society, the church is looked down on. I don't think that the church is trying to portray evil, but rather give people something to believe in that don't want to follow the common flock. Today, more than ever, we have a surplus of people looking for something to believe in or a place to belong and feel accepted in, regardless of how they live their life or what they believe. This gives them a place to go if that's something that they are interested in following into. But there are many other options of finding a spiritual means for expressing yourself as well.